So here we are, the best bench, probably in Britain. Anyway, reporting in from the, I mean, this Jonathan Pye crap that you see, all of that kind of. Why do I? No, I don't. I don't think hate really exists, but they all use this word now. Decry. They should just use the words decry or disdain. Why do I decry the Green Party? I can't remember who it was. A couple of weeks ago, somebody virtue signalled to me. So you see, there's the local shitpipe. Somebody virtue signalled to me. I don't think they were accurate, actually. 10,000 people homeless in this county. I don't think that's true. Anyway, reporting in from the homelessness, rooflessness capital of Britain. Even the Brexit Farage fan Susie, who lives one per wood burner, she actually said to me, "What a great line I invented 7 or 8 years ago. 2 per wood burner." The Green Party can't say, as I knew 10 years ago. You could overnight reduce emissions, but then it just came to me now. We need to have another slogan. There's no point, I just talk to myself. Yeah, so my slogan became 2 per wood burner. And even Susie said, yeah, it's a great line. But you see, it's also 2 per shit pipe. The way sewage systems work in the environment, which is places like this, is your small domestic little systems. And if, as is the case, it was the case in the marches, so many middle-aged incomers live alone. If you had it such that could change things by tax, but before anything else by the messaging, which of course your Eckhart Tolle and all of those kinds of people have gone and completely and utterly ruined, that it's 2 per shit pipe 2. 2 per shit pipe 2, that's poetical. Then you overnight reduce Francais,
Yes.
my favourite. And France is going okay now, I hear. It went a little bit problematical, but it's okay. I've lived all over Europe. Where were we? So 2 per shit pipe. 2 per wood burner, 2 per shit pipe. But that sounds all kind of... that's overnight pollution, which is all carbon dioxide is, would be reduced by 20% if overnight, by tax, but it's the messaging, by messaging the message. But never will any green politician ever say this. Somebody should do a freedom of information, but of course I'm being ironic in that all of these kinds of people, I've known them. I've unfortunately been among them for many years. The one thing they hate more than anything, well, they actually do hate it, is their information, the facts of them, their actual lives being even discussed. It's always about somebody else. But here's the point. Somebody should do a freedom of information. The Green Party being mainly made up these days by middle-aged, many more women, youngsters too, came in, emotionally blackmailed. I've got a recording about that. But how many of you live alone? Please, Now, I know if I went to a Green Party or Extinction Rebellion or all of these kind of, and they should all be amalgamated into one. It's absurd. The notion that, I mean, there are only like 5% of us who actually do genuinely care, such that they will carry on using the same backpack. I mean, the looks I get, that people judge straight away. Ooh, an old backpack, got to be on drugs. But somebody should do a freedom of information. As I say, I'm being ironic. How many of you live alone? Please? They'll all virtue signal automatically. Oh, gosh, there's so much homelessness, rooflessness. Sounds like I care. I wouldn't have it any other way than the way I live, although it wasn't planned. It's wonderful. Right on the edge is good for you. Having to build bridges with people you don't necessarily feel you might get along with, to, well, I don't know, kind of more or less supply my own needs, because I don't even cook. You don't need to cook. 2 raw eggs for breakfast. Anyway, blah blah blah. I'm waffling on. Yeah. The Greens. There is only kind of 5% of us in the country who may actually not look at you funny if you say, keep your old backpack going for many a year. I mean, down here, it's like everything's new. Everything. Unless it's the special old antique backpacks bought in High Street, Camden Town or whatever. The Greens, there shouldn't be 5 or 6 different green organisations. Actually, they're probably nearer 10. They should all be combined into one. And the fundamental first message is these basic, forget about fucking India, about fucking Amazonia, about everywhere else, until we've got our own house in order. You know, because it's the most virtue signalling thing you can do is speak about some brown people's land elsewhere, which you can't influence anyway, except by one reason, by one way. And good for him, Tony Blair. Well, no, Tony Blair a week ago articulated the problem in a way that he's the first person I've ever heard say we should be setting an example. The rest of the world is looking here. 20 years ago, the commissioners, the diplomats in London would go to Hay on Wye Festival and listen to green people speaking. They're not stupid. I mean, I'm sure some of them did notice. Oh, they used to be sponsored by Vauxhall Astra and have cheap cars, low fuel consumption, running the stars around. And in 2010 they go and change that to being sponsored by Land Rover. And they have a rule in the contract that we will come and pick you up. Probably even George Monbiot sending a Land Rover, a Range Rover out to go and pick him up. They're not stupid, the rest of the world. But old Tony Blair is like, oh well, probably we're going to have to give up. We won't be able to set an example. Why not? It's just so easy. Or rather, overnight, taxes, systems. Okay, if you possibly can, live with each other. Not necessarily all the time, most of the time. Van sharing scheme. I mean, I'm actually being serious, but this sounds. It begins then to sound, silly fantasy utopian. But van sharing schemes, you live with somebody for a couple of weeks of the month, that is tough. Have a van so you can go and spend a few days in a car park and recharge. You know, there is no, every single word that comes out of the Green Party's mouth, and all of them, all of them, every single one of them is blaming somebody else. And if you say, as I have said, maybe we should find ways of encouraging each other not to be so atomized. I mean, virtually every vehicle you see in places like this has got only one person driving it. It all failed. But the Greens, well, they shouldn't be called Greens. They will not talk about this. Anyway, I was just going to do a short 2 per wood burner, 2 per shitpipe. It's not a joke. If you have, I understand the proper, as much as anybody can, because it's all so complicated. If you had every university department in Britain, you would, working on it, you would not entirely understand the full, total ecosystem of what happens to a atom or molecule that comes out of a factory, or if you're posh, yes, you can afford to get it from your local organic market. Every single atom that comes in and every single atom that goes out, because that's what it comes down to. Oh, Greens don't want to think about that. They want to think about the bad, crappy, stupid new ideas of Robert Macfarlane. I mean, Rachel Carson wrote in 1962, Silent Spring. That's all you ever needed to know. Anyway, if you have 2 or 3 per roof, the way that the molecules coming in and then end up going out is going to be more efficiently processed per person, and the footprint would go down. But no, the Greens can't say that. I mean, they're a joke. They're a complete and utter. And all they care about, all their latest thing is, oh, right, we're actually going to, I mean, the Supreme Court came out with I've no interest in this. I lived in the place where April Ashley, in fact, I recently saw something pop up about April Ashley. There's a video or something. I didn't know what April Ashley looked like, because April Ashley went to live, I think 30 years ago, by Hay-on-Wye, or in Hay-on-Wye. Nobody cared. Nobody stared. Nobody said, better not come into our toilet. Nobody cared. And what have the Greens done? You have probably about the most conclusive Supreme Court judgment. I'm not even commenting whether it's right or wrong. In fact, I was very surprised. I would have expected it to be much closer. 6-4 or something. No. 8 of them, or was it 10 of them, say no. A bloke's a bloke. And the Greens can't accept that. It's just a joke. That's the worst kind of lowest common denominator. It's not even political. It's a made-up pandering to their pathetic version of... I mean, I know Greens, they've got no pity. They've got no... They're brutal machines of their own. Not one of them. If you actually said to them, so are you going to sell your cottage that you've bought on your southern money? Are you going to sell your cottage at less than half the market rate when you're moving into your retirement home or whatever? No, they're a hall of mirrors. They should be called Alice in the Looking Glass. The Alice in the through the Looking Glass party. Anyway, I'm not very good when I try to do it properly, but they're just a joke. They're more than a joke, because it's serious. Because these are the people who, the way society works, it's like, okay, you lot over there, that would be your issue. We'll leave that to you. You'll be looking after that aspect of human existence. We've got whoever and his silly rockets and blah 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 and this, that, the other, but they have nothing to say. They are Pseudeia, PSEUDEIA.com. I wish I had time to get round to writing that one up. I got too many portals. They're all just for fun, but they're all deadly serious at the same time.